Alright, look, I play a lot of JRPGs, right? I play a lot of JRPGs. I'm sure you do too if you're watching this video. So tell me if this has happened to you before. You're playing a game, you're playing a JRPG. Maybe you haven't looked at reviews that well. Maybe you just saw it on sale and you started playing it, only to find out that the rest of the community doesn't like it. And the reviewers did not jive with it. And you feel like you're the only person in this little island that loves this game and everybody else is like, oh, that's awful. Tell me if you've also been in this situation where you are playing a JRPG that you know is bad. You know it's a mid B-tier movie like level JRPG, but you can't help but love it anyways. If you have ever been into any of these categories, then this video is for you. Hello everybody, my name is I'm Spooky. I recognize that a lot of people will be watching this video for the first time because this is a collaborative video. Thank you again for all my new JRPG friends for working with me on this video, where we talk about JRPGs that we just can't help but love. Essentially, JRPGs that are maybe not seen in the best light by the community and sometimes even ourselves, but at the end of the day, we love them all in the same. Thank you so much for everybody that worked on this video with me, that collaborated with me. So let's hear from some of our friends, and then you're gonna hear from me at the end. Thank you so much. Bye.
Hello everyone, Hellfire RPGs here. Thanks for having me on your channel. I'm Spooky. Bad RPGs that we can't help but love. For my pick, I'm going with Suikoden 4. To be completely honest, I really don't think that Suikoden 4 is a bad game. The reason I'm picking it is because it's my least favourite Suikoden and often considered the black sheep of the series. If it was named something else, it may have been received a little bit more positively, but after playing and absolutely loving Suikoden 1, 2 and 3, the fourth in the series was a real disappointment. But with that said, it's still Suikoden, which is probably my favourite series of all time, so I still have a lot of love for this game. Suikoden 4 takes place 150 years before the events of the first game, and with that lies the first issue. With such a massive gap in the timeline, there are very few characters that we know from previous games. Seeing characters reappear through Suikoden 1, 2 and 3 was a highlight, but it just wasn't the same in Suikoden 4. With that said, being able to finally have Jean in your party and learning more about Ted's origins was pretty epic. I just wish there was more of this. Now, this game is set in the island nations, and while the concept of sailing and massive ship battles was really cool, actually travelling through the open seas was a pain in the ass. There was a lot of slow sailing with loads of random encounters, and this was not fun. Another reason why the game was negatively received by fans is due to the change in the combat system. The previous 3 games allowed for 6 characters in your party, which was needed due to the crazy amount of possible characters that could be recruited. Fighting with the main character and 3 others with no formations just didn't feel the same. Luckily, this was rectified in Suikoden 5. But with that said, it's still Suikoden. There is still 108 characters to recruit with your own upgradable HQ. There is still massive war battles and the 1 vs 1 duels. There is still a decent story with a focus on true runes. Suikoden 4 is still Suikoden, and while it's easily the worst in the series, I still love it. Thanks again for having me on. I'm Spooky, and I hope to see all of you over on my channel soon for more JRPG content.
Hello, John Iki, Chicken Fillets here, and thank you to I Am Spooky for having me on to discuss, well, bad JRPGs that we actually love. Now, this was a very, very easy choice for me because a title which does get a lot of flack, a lot of hate, well, it's Final Fantasy XIII. Now, Final Fantasy XIII was originally released on the PlayStation 3, the Xbox 360, and it's been ported to PC. Why it's still not been ported to the likes of Nintendo Switch and PS4 and 5 and beyond me. Now in this JRPG we follow Lightning and her companions in a very, very linear adventure. Now this is a reason that this game gets a lot of flack, because when you had the likes of Final Fantasy XII before this, where you could explore this world, or Final Fantasy X, even though that was linear, that still had a bit of exploration in it as well. And then you go even further back with 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. These had open world maps, so you could understand where people kind of fell off the map, pardon the pun, with this game. The combat system as well is one of these combat systems where once you master it, it is awesome, but if you don't know what you're doing with it, yeah, you can understand why people hate it as well. Also, another trait that people find is Lightning's wet sponge personality in the game, but I really like Lightning as a character, so yeah, there's that. And the story as well, as convoluted as it can be, you know what, I enjoyed my time with Final Fantasy 13. If you've not played Final Fantasy 13, and if you've really kind of been put off by people saying, oh, it's rubbish, it's bad, you know, just play it, it's awesome, you'll have a brilliant time with it. So with this all in mind, well, tell me a bad JRPG that's actually really good and you should play. Let myself and I Am Spooky know in the comments down below. Now, I have been John, aka Chicken Fillets. Please make sure to pop over to my channel and say hello. And anyway, until next time, tatty bye.
Hey everyone, what up? Matt Kaiser here, and thank you, I'm Spooky, for allowing me to be in your club. It was an absolute pleasure. With that said, let's talk about a relatively bad JRPG that, well, we kinda like. And one that would have to be, in my mind, would have to be Star Ocean and Divine Force. Now, this is not essentially a really bad game, as it got decent reviews, with the Metascore of 69.
Nice.
But to many, it does seem that reviewers really just did not care for this game, despite the fact that in many aspects, it's arguably the best modern mainline Star Ocean game in a while. I mean, compared to, like, say, Star Ocean 4 and 5, Star Ocean 6 just leaps beyond it and feels like a true return to form to the classic Star Ocean games and what people really liked about it. Everything from having just an overall solid story with wonderful characters, some of the best characters the series has probably since Star Ocean 2 and 3, as well as really amazing fast-paced combat that's on par with Star Ocean 4, as well as just a really beautiful world to explore with the Duma system, which makes it really fun to navigate and zip around. Coupled that with an amazing soundtrack, and overall, you got a pretty solid game. And while not perfect, especially in the technical department due to the, well, bad lip syncing and the rather not great graphics and the frame rate, as well as the really bad small text, that do hinder it, and given that this game does not really have much of a budget to begin with, I can see why many people just really seem to, you know, look down upon Star Ocean 6. But to me, Star Ocean 6 The Divine Force was a really fun time, and it's one I will treasure it, and I just hope that eventually we do get Star Ocean 7 that takes the best aspects of Star Ocean 6 and improve upon it. Same goes with some elements of Star Ocean: The Second Story R, which is a fantastic title. With that said, thank you, I'm Spooky, for allowing me to be here. It was an absolute pleasure. With that said, Mad Kaiser, out.
Hey friends, it's Brandon from Just the Gems. Thanks so much to Spooky for having me on to talk about a game that's near and dear to my heart, and a game that has not gotten a lot of love from the broader community for reasons that I just do not understand. I'm talking about Eternights. From the first trailer of this game, I knew it was going to be something I was into. The dark and moody atmosphere, the combat, the dating sim elements, it seemed like an action RPG take on the Persona formula. All good things in my book. And then I learned that this game is largely the work of one individual, which honestly, I mean, man, that just blows my mind. The story in Eternights is told in a very interesting way. Your cast of characters are pivotal to the tale that unfolds, but most of the grand designs behind it all are kept entirely from their knowledge. Even we, as the omniscient player, only see bits and pieces of the deeper lore behind the story. This might be infuriating to some people, but for me, I'm a big fan of show don't tell, even when not telling leads to unanswered questions. This creates a wonderful sense of mystery that ignites my imagination. So I suppose some people might have taken issue with the opaqueness of the story, but others I know had problems with the combat. And look, this is one area where I can actually understand their pain. When I first started playing this game, I was pretty confident I was going to have to give up in the first area. I was just not getting it. The battles seemed so unforgiving, and like there was some rhythm to them that I just could not wrap my head around. It was somehow different than every other action RPG I'd ever played, in a way that I couldn't quite put my finger on. But After a lot of trial and error, eventually, I got it. Suddenly the battles were fast, rhythmic, fun. It became a genuine joy to play. My encouragement to you is give this game a shot. Really take some time to learn the combat. It is going to take some time. But if you're able to get over the hurdle, and if you can tolerate a game that will artfully leave you with questions, then I highly recommend checking out Eternights.
To me, it is my turn now. What do you guys think of all those games mentioned? Were there any games that you agree with? Any games that you disagree with? Let me know, let me know. But my pick of a JRPG that I just can't help but love, right? Doesn't matter if the reviewers are going crazy. It doesn't matter if the reception, they're like, your opinion is revoked, your JRPG license is revoked for whatever because you like this game. I don't care about that. For me, it has to be The Last Remnant. There is something about the art direction and art style of these early 2010s ish games, like that Square Enix just had like a really nice art direction, you know, just kind of like 3D realistic, but still leaning into that anime art style that I feel like The Last Remnant just looks so beautiful. Like, it is genuinely one of my favorite art styles ever, and I think The Last Remnant is like one of my favorite looking video games ever. Is that a hot take? It might be. And not only that, not only does it just look beautiful, I find that it has a very underrated soundtrack. I'm not saying it is the greatest soundtrack on earth, right? I'm not saying it's this crazy thing that, oh my god, everybody must listen to, but I feel like the music is good. Like, it's not music that is very brought up a lot in, like, you know, you got your Sunshine Coastline, right? Ys 8. You have, obviously, like, most Final Fantasies are just brought up, like 7, 8 in particular are brought up to be like these legendary soundtracks. But I feel like people don't show love to The Last Remnant. The soundtracks are pretty good in that game. Not only that though, but my favorite part has to be the gameplay. It has to be the gameplay. Now, when I was looking into The Last Remnant, I guess this used to be like a Saga game in development, but then they dropped the name because they wanted it to sell better. But it's basically a Saga game in all but name. So I understand why the combat may be really weird to some people and they don't really click with it. Now, take it from me, I am someone that the simpler the better in my combat systems. Of course, I like to, you know, I like my complex systems to an extent, but when we're getting Baldur's Gate 3 level, don't want to offend anybody here, with like just menus and things and all this cooldowns and all this, like, my brain fries, right? Like, I like simple complexity, if that makes sense. I feel like The Last Remnant is simply complex to the point where, like, yeah, it makes sense that there's just a bunch of things going on and everything is like weird, and if my characters are attacking on their own and they're not even choosing their attacks, but, you know, try it out for a little bit and eventually it will click like it did for me. But yeah, The Last Remnant I feel like has a great art style, great gameplay. What people really harper on is the story, and I will agree the story is a little bit mid. It's okay, it's not the best, but it does have its moments. But man, I just can't help but love The Last Remnant. It is a personal pick of mine. But yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you so much for every single one of my, oh my god, hopefully, right, my future collaborators, JRPGs. A lot of these people I want to especially shout out. Just the Gems, Brandon. Literally one of the reasons why I even made this channel was because of him. So shout out to you. Everyone else, also very much thank you for giving me a chance in this small channel. If you come here from any of these other lovely channels, please come into my little home. You know, I promise I will try my best to give you something fun to watch. But yeah, thank you so much for everybody. Like I said, thank you for watching this, and I'll see you guys hopefully next time. Bye.